I haven't done a video with very specific fantasy and indie recommendations in a while, so here we go. From cozy cottagecore to grimdark nightmare. Hey everyone, Fina here from Fina Reads. Welcome back to my channel. I love very specific recommendation videos, and I have 10 indie fantasy books for you, and they will get increasingly darker as we go on. All books that I read and loved, and I highly recommend those. Go figure. Starting with very cozy, of course. Harvest Magic and Other Poor Decisions by Lauren Petrozilka is one of those cozy, witchy, small-scale, warm and fuzzy cozy books. It's a great fall read, as the name says, but I promise you it will make you hungry all year round. This is a novella about Briar, who owns a bakery. Every morning she works her magic to create the most amazing pastries. Desire Danish, anyone? But something is going on with her mother, and she wants to figure out what. And with the upcoming Harvest Festival, she is preparing a ritual that will hopefully give her the answers that she is looking for. This novella also comes with a really wholesome romance story, a dash of spice, very little, and is a great quick read for in between larger books. While Origins by S. Faxon is more of a younger read, it's still a great adventure even for adults. We have a medieval setting with dragons and vampires set during the time of the plague. We're following shapeshifter, Dragonshifter, Owen, as he is sent out to save humans. Problem is, those humans killed his mother. So we see a lot of inner conflict as part of the story. Definitely some heartwarming moments, like good versus evil type of thing, with still lots of hope and lots of friendship. And despite the whole Dragonshifter situation, no romance and no spice. Next up is The Legend of Blackjack by A.R. Witham. This is a YA coming-of-age portal fantasy about Jack, who just lost his father in a tragic accident that he keeps blaming himself for. But throughout the story, he learns to accept what happens and grows despite his past. This is a very colorful fantasy story that is inspired by a lot of influences like Greek mythology, Japanese, Western, Jewish, and a lot more. And it's full of friendship and amazing animal companions. I believe this is one of the best animal companions out there in all fantasy. But at the same time, it has a couple of darker moments, a little bit of gore. So we are definitely moving slowly into the darker areas of fantasy. The Last Descendant, book 1 in the Sanyara Chronicles by Megan Haskell, is another portal fantasy. This one with even more adventurous tone, also playing more in a Fae versus human world. And we're following Rai, who is a human in the Fae High Court, struggling with being accepted as herself and not seen as a slave. And it all starts out with her being framed for something that she didn't do. Surprise, surprise. And instead of just sitting down and accepting her fate, she is going into the enemy camp to try to figure out why she was framed and what is actually happening. So you're getting kick-ass heroine, you're getting adventure, you're getting a Fae story that is not full of romance and spice, but much more focused on the fantasy and adventure elements, and you're getting the coolest companions ever in the form of pixies, carnivorous pixies. Very snarky and sassy, but also lusting for blood. Harkworth Hall by Alice Johnson is book 1 in the Chase and Daniels quartet. I'm actually recommending the entire quartet because it is a really quick read. All of them are rather short. This is a mix of fantasy, horror, mystery, and then some darker, like gothic elements. So rather than grimdark, it is more on the gothic side with, you know, moods and vibes that belong to that area. It also plays in a more Victorian setting. Our main character, Carolyn, is required to marry for various reasons, but that's not what the story is actually about. It's about the mystery that accompanies her potential husband and the things that he's actually looking for. And all is accompanied by that, you know, sense of looming dread and creepiness that you find in these typical gothic mystery type stories. So more psychological level Eldritch horror than jump scare and grimdark. If you like Eldritch Horror type books, hang on. I have one more book with that theme coming in a little bit. Now we're getting into the a bit darker territory with Where Shadows Lie by Allegra Pescatore, book 1 in the Last Gift series. This is an epic fantasy with a fantastic twist on the Chosen One, because the Chosen One is being killed pretty much early on in the series, and his sister now has to take his place and actually has no clue about what's going on or what she's supposed to do. This is an epic fantasy with a lot of modern twists. One from the setting, for example, you have running water, that kind of stuff, but also from the inclusion. I think this is one of the most inclusive books that I've read ever, with LGBTQ representation, chronic illness representation, and a lot more. In typical epic fantasy manner, you have a lot of dark moments where our female main character Eleanor has to just figure out what's going on and how to get out of certain situations, a lot of political intrigue, a lot of backstabbing, but you have still a lot of hopeful moments. You have dragons that are adorable and really lighten up the whole story. And if that's not enough, this book is part of a bigger universe. Think Cosmere, where you have multiple different series, in this case by different authors, not all by Allegra Pescatore, but they're all connected through one bigger universe, but are all kind of standalone series that you can read on their own. We go one step further into the darkness with Godfrey's Crusade by Mark Howard. This is a very typical medieval-inspired epic fantasy, and as the name says, it's about the knight Godfrey who's going on a crusade. So you have very typical Game of Thrones-like elements when it comes to political intrigue, knighthood, adventurous journeys and all that kind of stuff. Really cool magic system in this book. And if you love audiobooks, this audiobook is fantastic. With the last 3 books, we are facing darkness now, starting with Venomborn by Benjamin Averin, which is a light LitRPG epic fantasy mix with dark themes of addiction. It's a story about Effie and Kide, both outcasts to a certain extent due to their purple eyes and strange abilities that they got because their mothers were addicted to Monster Venom during their pregnancies. And now they have to really quickly figure out what these strange abilities are all about and how they can use them, because there's an ancient evil looming on the horizon that only Venomborn can take care of. Benjamin Averin is known for fantastic prose, and Venomborn is no exception. The writing is such a fantastic balance of visual and lyrical that you cannot stop reading this story. Short hint, it was originally released in the beginning of 2025, but he is currently working on a re-release for January 2026. The story is the same. It just gets a new cover. Dreams of the Fallen by A.S. Colworth is a Roman-inspired epic fantasy set in the Shattered Empire that emphasizes bleakness, darkness out of the wazoo. My recommendation is to read the novella Empire's End first, because it gives you a lot of background information about that rather dark history of that world, and it just helps with general understanding of the main novel. But once you've done that, you are in for lots of political intrigue, backstabbing, really cool settings, like one of the races lives in a cavern where light only shines in through one crack. And then the general setup is that you're getting 2 POVs that seem to be on opposing sides, but trust me, nothing is as it seems. Overall, very gritty, lots of emotional moments, slower paced at times, so a great read that you can get fully immersed in. And then the darkest of them all, the true Grimdark of the lot is Gunmetal Gods by Zamil Akhtar. Probably one of the, if not the darkest book that I've ever read in my entire life. This is grimdark to a T, with all the gory and bloody details and all the trigger warnings that you can think of. Set in a Middle Eastern inspired world, this is an epic fantasy with gothic horror elements and meddling eldritch gods. Of course there's conflict, in particular from a religious side. Each side thinks they're the true believers and their past, their history is the true one. So you're getting 2 POVs from each side. And part of the book is that you're going really deep with each of those POVs to a point where you don't even know anymore which one of these is the good side versus the bad side. And again, the writing of Zamil Akhtar is so good. You're going to immerse yourself into this world and never want to come out of, well, except for the Grimdark horrors. You might need a break from those every now and then. That's my list of 10 books from Cozy Cottagecore to Grimdark Nightmare. I hope you found something that interests you, that you're excited for reading. Let me know then in the comments which direction you prefer. Do you like the cozy witchy setting, or do you like it the darker the better? If you want to check out more detailed reviews of some of the books that I mentioned, go check out my dedicated reviews. I don't have a dedicated review for all of these books, but like Where Shadows Lie, Gunmetal Gods, Dreams of the Fallen, you can find all here. And then if you like these types of recommendation, if you like fantasy, if you like indie, if you like great stories, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So I'll see you again with another video. Till then, have an amazing rest of your day, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!